I am more enlightened than you. 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 Except I'm not, because he's a dog. Dog is God backward. So I don't want to be a mascot no more. Anyway, he's the mascot for Almost Enlightened. Today I'm going to talk about relationships and how they can be very stressful, but that the stress of being real in your relationships is way less than the stress of swallowing how you actually feel and being a people pleasing, codependent doormat. So, let me give you some examples, one male, one female. One of my two best friends, the one that I didn't just recently stop being friends with, he has a problem with me. I don't hang out enough. I live kind of like a monk these days. I don't like to travel to the city and spend hours hanging out. I don't like to spend money at restaurants. I don't even like eating at restaurants because it's always kind of like feels bad at the end. And recently, kind of since the pandemic, since we've been hanging out, it's been kind of like there's been a lot of passive aggressiveness and resentfulness kind of like simmering underneath. We got into a couple fights and we're in a bad pattern. And we got real today, just super fucking real with each other. And I told him, I don't like this feeling of shrinking when I'm hanging out with you. Like I'm like playing some old role. Come here. What you doing? Anyway, so that's one example. And, I'm an asshole partially. I mean, not an asshole, but like I'm playing my role in the Discord in that like I'm kind of being avoidant. I'm doing this typical like man behavior, like wounded masculine avoidant. He's doing kind of, and he acknowledges this like a typical wounded feminine, like putting pressure on me, and I don't like that. And then when we hang out, I actually get very vulnerable and wounded feminine and kind of hold back my truth, and he gets wounded masculine and kind of acts snarky. So we talked about that dynamic. It was a very fucking stressful conversation, an hour and a half. He's worth it because he's like my best friend. What is my point here? It's easier to do that than to keep pretending because it's so uncomfortable to pretend. People do so much pretending based on their nuclear family dynamics. They will get high, get drunk, be sexually compulsive, overeat rather than confront themselves and others and their relational trauma. And I totally get it because it's supposedly not easy, but it's actually easy. It actually is. Just to be real is easier. It's easier. Muggsy, come here. What do you want? You're a good dog. So, the other example I have is Tatiana, my wife, and she's very negative sometimes. She'll admit this. I don't think it's a great quality. Complains, kind of like whiny, wounded feminine. And I was not allowed to be negative when I was a child. I had to be nice, peaceful one for my mom because she was stressed out and she would come to me for comfort. And that was my survival mode, is to be funny, nice, easy. So that's why I got attracted to spirituality. Oh, I'm going to be the peaceful one, the nice one, the loving one. Now I'm like an angry non-dualist because I want to be real and honest. I'd rather be honest than make no waves. And it's a challenge for people who are in relationship with me because I think they'd rather I just be easy, but I'm not. And in the end, that's better for them too. So Tatiana and her negativity, I find it really challenging. I have a hysterical reaction to it because I repress my own negativity. Then when she says it out loud outside of my brain, I'm like, stop that. So the more I can be accepting of her negativity, that can be healing for me. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to completely indulge it. If she's on like a complaining tirade, I can say something. She's really not being solution oriented, I could say something. But since I've chosen her and she's like one of the very important people in my life, I'm going to start with, I talk about self-acceptance over self-improvement. I'm going to start with acceptance. Maybe occasionally I'll say something, but I'm not going to have this hysterical reaction to her negativity. Really, she's just telling me how she feels. I mean, sometimes complaining is blocking feelings, but she's, in her own way being real, at least a large percentage of the time. And I'm sure she wants to work on some of it too. But instead of having this hysterical reaction, like you are my problem, I'm a victim for you, I'm going to go to the place where, I recognize my projections and reflections, as Michael Brown says in the Presence Process. I recognize that is a reflection of something that's going on in me. Now, if someone's abusing you, you don't want to use this projection stuff as an excuse. But in this is a really good place to use it. Like everything is mind. I'm floating in a pool of me. If I project on Muggsy that he's being naughty, like what is he doing now? Naughty behavior. Stop that. You're being a bad teenager. That's probably something to do with my teenage years. Maybe that's an exaggeration. So relationships are stressful, but it's way less stressful than avoiding. So hear me now. Stop avoiding and holding back your truth. Do the hard work of being real 100% of the time. Have a spine and work through your relational trauma one difficult relationship at a time. It's the easier, softer way. And recognize your projections and reflections. Decide who you want in your life. If people are abusing you, even subtly, I would say peace out. If they can hear you and make adjustments, work on it like I worked on it with my friend, and like I work on it with my wife. And if you're in a relationship, just fucking go to couples counseling because you probably need it. You're welcome for that advice. So I hope this was helpful. The point of the story is always in Almost Enlightened, our belief about how hard change is going to be isn't true. It's a way that we block ourselves from changing. So is life easy? Is working out easy? Is changing habits easy? Is overcoming trauma and relational trauma easy? No, but it's easier than our mind tells us. And we have it all right here. All the enlightenment I ever need is in me now. All the peace I ever need is in me now. All the healthy relationship skills I ever need is in me now. I think that's a Epicurean or Stoicism. I have to look into that, but I think that idea that it's all in you now and you don't have to self-improve to get there is an Epicurean or a Stoical idea. And whatever kind of idea it is, it's just not chasing. We're not chasing externals. We're working with what is self-acceptance, others' acceptance, except when you need to draw your line in the sand. And there's no formula for that. You have to decide when that's true. Bam! That's in my spine. That's in my spine. That's my YouTube for today. I hope you pay attention the whole time. If you like it, subscribe. Don't forget, I'm available to be a men's coach to all the suffering, addicted, confused men in your life, or if you are a man. Spiritual Warrior Men's Coaching.com. I don't really work with women because I'm not good with the whole transference thing. It's weird. Or male identifying people, I should say. This was a good one. It was good for me. Hope you learned about relational trauma. Standing up for yourself, being real, not fucking around. Macho man, but not really macho. Want to be a macho man. I'm going on too long. Macho man. Can't stop, won't stop. I want to be a macho man.